Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Life is Strange. Today, we're looking at people who found success completely by chance. Our first example is Fiona MacDonald. As a child, Fiona was involved in a cycling accident and hurt her back badly. Her doctors recommended swimming to help her back heal. It was only then that Fiona realised that she was talented at swimming, so she took it up professionally. If she hadn't had a bad back, she wouldn't be a member of the Olympic swimming team today. Then there's the well-known band James & Co. Lead singer Jerry's parents split up and he moved from Manchester to Bristol. He had to move schools, and at his new school, he became friends with Molly James and her brother, Joe. They became James & Co., who went on to have several top 10 hits. James & Co. wouldn't exist today if Jerry's parents hadn't split up. Supermodel Elisabetta Martinez had a terrible time when she was a little girl. She was so tall and wished she could be shorter. But when she was 16, somebody stopped her in the street and asked if she'd like to be a model. Since then, Elisabetta has travelled the world, modelling for many famous designers. If she was shorter, she wouldn't have signed a contract with a top modelling agency. Finally, film director Sharon Rogers wanted to be an actor, and she got a few minor parts in TV series. But she could never audition for a bigger role because she would get so nervous in auditions that she'd forget her lines. One day, she decided that she couldn't go through another painful audition, and so she changed direction and started working behind the scenes. If her memory was good, she wouldn't have become a film director. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.
Hello again. You already know the first conditional, the second conditional, and the third conditional. Today, we'll talk about mixed conditionals. The name gives it away. In mixed conditionals, you mix the second and third conditional. As you remember, in the second conditional, you talk about imaginary situations. If I was rich, I would live in a palace. But I'm not rich and I don't live in a palace. And you use the third conditional to talk about situations in the past. If I had inherited my grandma's money, I wouldn't have bought such a tiny flat. But I didn't inherit the money and I bought a tiny flat. But sometimes you may want to say that if something in the past had happened, the present situation would be different. Or if a permanent situation or state, for example being poor, was different, things in the past would have been different too. And that's when you use mixed conditionals. If I was rich, I wouldn't have bought such a tiny flat. But I am not rich, so I bought a tiny flat. If I had inherited my grandma's money, I would live in a palace. But I didn't inherit her money, and I don't live in a palace. This is how we form mixed conditionals. Look at some examples from the video. If she was shorter, she wouldn't have signed a contract with a top modelling agency. But she isn't short, and that's a permanent situation, and she signed a contract with a modelling agency in the past. If her memory was good, she wouldn't have become a film director. But her memory isn't good. Again, that's a permanent situation, and she became a film director in the past. If she hadn't had a bad back, she wouldn't be a member of the Olympic swimming team today. But she had problems with her back in the past, and she is on the Olympic swimming team today. James and Co. wouldn't exist today if Jerry's parents hadn't split up. But Jerry's parents did split up in the past, and James and Co. exists today. So, remember, you can mix the second and third conditional if you are talking about a permanent situation and its past result, or if you are talking about a past event and its result in the present. That's all for today.